Uh, yeah, I don't, never did anything like this before. Um, I'm doing this because I don't know how much longer, um, let me say this without getting upset. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here alive. And, maybe it be my fault, it may not be my fault, you know? Maybe I was just ignorant. But, you know, I want to tell everybody bye, and my family, my friends, and I'm gonna miss the sunset in the morning. I'm gonna miss that. And it seems like when I was growing up, the sun was yellow, not white. I told my son that, and he thinks I'm crazy, but yeah. And I just discovered the Mandela effect like 6 months ago. I don't know why it took me so long. People were figuring it out in like 2002, 2007, I think. But I don't know what took me so long. I think it's because maybe I had a distraction in my life at the time, no. But yeah, what got me into this situation? I'm probably gonna get like about a lot of backlash. You know, people saying, well, you got yourself in this situation. And yeah, I kind of did, but I I really didn't know any better. I didn't. I did. I didn't know any better. But I grew up here in Georgia, South Georgia, and women in the 80s and 90s, well, especially the 80s, they were treated pretty bad. I remember growing up, I had a eating disorder, and because people were constantly telling me in school and in my family, God, you're fat, you need to lose weight. And I look at my pictures and it's like, my God, I was so skinny, but what happened was my body matured a lot faster than most females, and I had the boobies and the butt. I, you know, I looked like a 20-year-old woman when I was 12 years old. I even had men, you know, for this Me Too movement. I had 30, 40-year-old men asking me out, you know. But yeah, I met somebody and had a kid with him, and it started off, and I hope his family doesn't find this video, because if they do, I'm gonna get so much heck to pay. But I love this man so much. He treated me, I met him, he was in the military, and he treated me like a freaking queen. Like I have never been treated like before. I mean, he made me feel so good about myself. And when I met him, I had like the really short, dyed black shaved hair, and I dressed like really goth. And, he changed me. I felt feminine. And, I started wearing dresses. And after about, we were together, I met him in a bar. They tell you not to do that, but I met him in a bar, and after 2 weeks, he moved in with me. We couldn't get away from each other, and he'd be at work on the base, and he would call me, about 20 times a day, you know, telling me how much he wanted to be near me, you know, and then like after 2 months, I moved in with him. We moved out of my house. I moved in with him into a better place, and he said, you need insurance. You've been through a lot. You need insurance, and I want to help you. So that's how our marriage started off. He wanted to help me, and then gradually, yeah, after about uh a month or two, we started getting close, and another month after that, I got pregnant with his child. And so he got out of the military after about 15 years, and we moved to New Orleans. And things started to change there, slowly, but it started getting worse. And I didn't recognize this person anymore. And he put me and his child through a lot. And I don't want to get upset. But once you're in that fight or flight, your body and your mind's been in that, and your child's been in that for years. And then all of a sudden, and he died last year. And once you no longer are in that survivor mode, you think, well, it's a relief. To a certain point, it is. But, I still miss him. I still miss the man that I meet. But, something happened to him. I don't know what happened. That he just, the last year of his life, it was hard on me and his child. And, I mean, we were in that state, that survival mode for so long, that when he finally left us, our bodies both broke down, mentally and physically. And what a lot of domestic violence people, women, and I want to say men too, they're in it too. I want you to know that once you're out of something, it's still going to affect you after you're out. Because I've had 4 heart attacks and 2 heart failures. And my son is having a lot of health problems, asthma and hallucinations, a lot of mental problems. He's been put in special ed, for help. But, he's turning 18 in a month. So, yeah. But, I don't think I'm going to be here much longer, because the situation I was in, where we moved to the town where he found a job at, because he couldn't find one here when he got out of the military. And so we moved, and the city that we were in, it was a big city, and I wasn't used to that because I grew up on the farm, so I felt like I was in prison. And I mean, it was prison, because you couldn't go outside without getting worried about being shot. And not only that, he was working his butt off, trying to give me and his son the best he could for what he could give it to us for, And I think one reason why he became like he did was he felt bad for not. I think he felt like he was a failure, and it bothered him. But what happened was, when he died, I started getting sick real bad, and I had my first heart failure. And that was like 2 months after he died. And I went from 160 pounds to 300 pounds in a month and a half. And, the doctors kept telling me, you need to quit eating. And I'm like, I haven't ate barely anything in a month and a half, you need to quit eating, or you need to work out. And it's like, I can't work out. I'm really sick. There's something wrong with me. I can't breathe. But, yeah, I had heart failure. And, what happened was, my son, he saved my life. He had an earache. And I told him, I said, are you sure you're hurting real bad? Because I'm feeling real sick right now. I just feel like I need to lay down and sleep. And he said, yeah, you need to take me. because I'm in pain real bad. So I took him to the emergency room, and the nurse looks at me and she said, "Ma'am, you don't look so good. Your face and your lips are like really blue." And then I remember them slamming, like really, literally slamming a wheelchair under me before I fell down and slapping some air on my face. And then I woke up like 3 days later in the bed. And, my son was like, he was out for 3 days. And then, I was like, well, what happened? He was like, they really haven't told me everything. And I was like, okay. So the doctor comes in and tells me, you had heart failure, and so, I told him how stressed out I was and been in the past. And basically, he looks at me and says, this heart failure isn't a good thing to have. That's not good. And basically, what he told me was, you need to be around your family because you don't know how much longer you're going to be around. So he tells me, when you get home, just, pack up your car, because I told him I had a small car, I didn't have a truck, and just what you put in your car, what you don't put in your car, hire a moving company, and they'll bring you your stuff to wherever you're going. So that's what I did. I come home to my parents, and I hired a moving company. I paid them $5,000 to bring me my stuff. And a month went by and I never got my stuff. And while this is going on, I'm trying to get my stuff back from them and see what's going on. And I'm in the hospital again, this time with a heart attack. So, yeah, they basically stole all my stuff and took my $5,000. Meanwhile, I'm sick, almost dying in the hospital, going through all this. So, I told them, this is before I knew they were scamming me, I think I left my license on my dresser, which I pretty much did, because where I was at, the license looked a lot like the ID. And I had two of them in my purse, and I assumed one was my license. So I went all the way to Georgia with a stupid ID, not a license. How I didn't get caught is beyond me, because I was so sick when I left. It took me 2 days to get here from where I was going, and usually it's just a 6 to 8 hour trip to get here, and it took me 2 days because I had to keep pulling over and throwing up or sleeping or, trying to gain my composure, slapping myself in the face so I could get to my parents' house, so I could make it. And so I left my license, and, they took advantage of me, and I had a heart attack. So I figured, when I feel better, I'll just get an ID here. But I didn't plan on staying here, though, because my husband did leave us pretty good portion of insurance money, and I had planned on maybe traveling to some places before I did find a place to settle. So I really didn't know if I was going to settle here or not. So, I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know if I'd be too sick to even go anywhere. It was uncertain. So, yeah, I left it. And this one morning, I woke up and my heart was pounding. This was about a month ago. My heart was pounding out of my chest. Meantime, I'm trying to get my $5,000 back. And that's about everything I had, actually. But because I bought me a car, I paid cash for that. I was smart. And when I bought the car, I paid 2 years worth of insurance because I don't want to go to jail for not having insurance. I think you can go to jail for that. I just want to avoid conflict. So on the phone, right when I bought the car, I paid like 2 years worth of insurance, right? And so anyway, I woke up like a month ago, and it was so hot that morning too, and it seemed like the air conditioner wasn't cooling my house off, and it was morning time and it wasn't cooling off. And I told my son, I said, "Are you hot?" He said, "No, it's you." And I said, "Uh-oh." I said, "Something's wrong with me." So, I got a cold shower and I couldn't cool down. And my heart was just, I just felt like I didn't want to be in this body anymore because I was so sick and I was tired of being sick. So I told him, I said, "I think I need to go to the emergency room, but before I go, I'm going to go by the Dollar General right here and I'm going to buy some aspirin because, aspirin helps with heart attack patients because I ran out because I've took it so much." So I was on my way to the Dollar General in Remberton, Georgia, and I noticed a black SUV behind me, and there was a guy in it, and I looked at my son and I said, "He's calling up a cop ahead of me, and he's fixing to pull me over. For some reason, they're fixing to pull me over." And sure enough, before I even got to the cop, his lights were on and he was pulling out. Well, I made it to Dollar General and I had my door open and I thought, well, maybe I was wrong. But no, he pulled up right behind my car and he told me, and I had a tag on my car, but I had just bought the car. It was a dealer's tag. And he tells me, "I'm pulling you over because you didn't have a tag." And I was like, "Okay." You know, I was like, yeah, I was like, "Okay, yeah, well, you can give me the ticket or whatever, and I'll pay it and go." Well, no, 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 no. He asked for my license, and I told him, I said I had one in New Orleans, and I explained to him how it got left. Well, he starts putting his gloves on, and I said, "I'm going to jail, ain't I?" He said, "Yeah." So, yeah, I start crying. I've never been in jail, never been in trouble. And I was sick. I was feeling awful. And he puts me in the back of the car with no air conditioning with the windows rolled up. Okay? So, I'm I try to calm myself down and try to think what to do, and then he tells me, "Do you have insurance on your car?" And I said, "Yeah. Here's my card." He said, "They don't mean anything. I'm, I want to tow it because I don't think you have insurance on your car." Well, somehow I got him to call USAA, who I was going to, and he sat there for 45 minutes on the phone with the agent, and the agent kept telling him she's got insurance paid up for the next 7 months, but he wanted to tow my car. I mean, he tried to really give me a hard time. And so I was put in jail about 8 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, I, told they left my son there. And, yeah, my disabled special needs son, he made me leave him there at the Dollar General by himself. And I wasn't allowed any phone calls. So I wrote a note to give to the cashier for my son to give to the cashier at Dollar General to call my mom on her phone and come pick him up. So yeah, and come to find out, my son told me they put him in the break room while he waited. So yeah, I was put in jail at 7 in the morning, and the nurse, questioned me, you know what are my, what medicines I take and everything. Like, like, yeah, we have to go through this, but no, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you any medicine or anything. So, she did her thing and even told the police officer, I want to put her up there with me, because like her blood pressure is so high it won't read on the cuff. And when she did read it, it was like 250 over 280, It was like really high. And he said, no, I want her to go in with everybody else. And she said, okay. And I didn't get what was going on at that time when he said that. But like 30 minutes after that conversation, I was put in with, I guess, what you call general population. And there's no windows, no air. And it was 120 that day in the shade. No air. And there's women walking around in the nude trying to find some kind of relief from the heat. And not only that, most, from what I gather, from what some women told me there, most toilets do not flush. So, yeah, you got the smell of feces, poop, and hot pee. Yeah, and hot, stifling air. And I'm going through this heart thing right now. And I don't even know if my parents have the money to even bail me out. But yeah, my mom said she went there at 9 o'clock in the morning. And, I didn't get out till 12 that morning. And I sitting there that whole time, and just suffering. So I go to court tomorrow, and from what I am understanding from other people that's been through the same thing in my family and around, I'm going to jail for a while. And they do not give you your medication. And I know I'm not going to make it. So, I'm going to try. But I have seizures along with that. And I'm on seizure medication. And I had asked for my seizure medication when I was in there too. And, she's like, yeah, well, no, we're not going to give it to you. The doctor doesn't want you to have it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. Yeah, and I didn't know, I've actually been stopped in the city where I was at, without my license in the truck. And they just write you a ticket and you pay the ticket and let you go home and go about your business. But here in South Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, no. No. And I don't understand that mentality. Why? Why do you want everybody in jail? Why? I mean, people make mistakes all the time. All the time. I really think, and I know this sounds crazy, that in 2007 and 2012, like, our planet went through some kind of big event. And I've witnessed it and even seen my husband do it. People either went to the dark side or they went to the lighter side where you have more compassion. And that's what I did. I'm going to admit, I really wasn't mean, but I was a bitch sometimes to people, and I was real judgmental. But it's like the last few months, it's like I've had a spiritual awakening. Like something has waken up inside of me, and I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. But I'm not afraid to die. It's just a pain, because I know I already know what it's gonna feel like. You know, I already know what it feels like when you're dying, and it hurts. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm just I might post some videos later if I make it through. But this might be my last one, because I've never did anything like this, and I'm not showing my face right now because where I lived at, especially during parade season, you know, and I thought people were being nice to me, just being friendly. It happened at parades, sometimes uptown, when I'd be uptown at Walmart or something. I kept noticing, the younger generation asking me to pose with them in pictures, and I thought they were being nice, but no, no. I'm not a very pleasant person to look at. And somebody told me that, they're taking your picture because you're really ugly. That's why they want your picture so they can show it around. That hurt, and because it sounds like that's about right. Makes sense. It makes sense. But, I never was like this. My body's been through hell. My life has been through hell. I have been literally dragged through hell my entire life. My entire life. I may have had a few years where there's like no stress, everything's going good, yay. But that's very few and far in between. But I'm fixing to end this, but they might take this video down. I don't know. I don't know. They're funny about things like that now. But I'm don't take this the wrong way, but I only see one way out of this. One way out of not going through the suffering in that jail. And I don't want to die smelling poop and piss in my last days. And I only see one way out. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. But I'm going to leave it at that. And if I'm still here tomorrow, I might post. I don't know. I might make this a thing. Because it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Because I don't have anybody else to talk to it about. Nobody. Nobody. I'm all by myself with my son. All right.